It's Games for the Galaxy. Hello and welcome to Games for the Galaxy. I'm RossTweetsGames and I love video games. Each episode I'll be bringing on a special guest and dropping the absolute bombshell to them that aliens exist. They're going to have to answer a series of questions all about the games that hold a special place in their hearts to help convince our galactic friends that video games are bloody brilliant. I really hope that you're enjoying these podcasts. I'm having a lot of fun making them, so that is good. If you do enjoy them, please subscribe, like it, share it. You know, the more people that get to listen, the better. Share the love. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at RossTweetsGames and on Blue Sky at Ross.tweets.games. I'm usually on there trying to make people laugh and failing miserably. So if that's something that interests you, give me a follow. Now, today's episode, I am joined by the brilliant Macy, a.k.a. LucyLuck, and she is an absolute delight. She was really lovely, and you'll get to know her across the episode and learn all about the games that mean the most to her. Now, Macy is a gaming YouTuber that focuses on ASMR content. If you don't know what ASMR is, it's very hard to describe, but it's essentially that tingling feeling that you sometimes get maybe on your scalp or on your shoulders, down your back. And Macy achieves this using her incredibly lovely voice, and you'll get to hear her do some of it during the podcast, and it's brilliant. You're going to love it. But I think you've heard me chat enough already during the start of this. Let's get Macy in and enjoy another episode of Games for the Galaxy. Hi and welcome to Games for the Galaxy. I'm your host, RossTweetsGames, and today I am joined by a brilliant YouTuber specialising in ASMR content, and she's also a very lovely personality in the Blue Sky gaming community. It's Macy, a.k.a. LucyLuck!
Hello! Hi.
Thank you for joining.
And thank you so much for having me.
How are you
it's good
today?
To be here. I'm good. I am nervous, but we'll pretend
There's
that I'm
nothing
not.
to be nervous about. You're talking to me. I'm an idiot. You shouldn't be nervous.
Well, I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but I got nervous just thinking about talking to a group of people that were lined up around the GameStop. I was very curious and had an itch to socialize. Yeah. And I chickened out. It was too scary.
I would have chickened out as well. I would have ran. Like they would have spotted me and I would just started sprinting in the opposite direction. Like, don't look at me.
I still don't quite know what that was about. I think it was the Switch 2 release.
Yeah, of course. Because the pre-orders, when we're recording this, the pre-orders were yesterday or last night.
Right. And I thought that people pre-ordered to like skip the line. But no, people...
No. I thought it was all online now. I didn't know people went in person to pre-order consoles anymore. That's strange,
you learn something new every day.
Exactly, that's it. Right, let's get into it. So, Macy, tell us a little bit about yourself and your content.
Yeah, okay. So, I started on YouTube about a couple years ago. I was in a bit of a difficult place in my life where recovering from like COVID, like post-COVID sort of life, and I had ended up becoming largely disabled because of the disease and was bedridden for 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the channel was just sort of my way of like, I was really missing out on socialization. I missed being productive and just connecting with people. And ASMR for me has always been something that has brought me peace, and gaming is something that has, changed my life. And so I was like, okay, we combine these two. We'll do a bit of ASMR gaming, and, this can be something new. This can be my outlet. I'll learn new things and connect with people. And it's been incredible. It's been life-changing. And so,
wow.
I've been doing that.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that about you, about COVID and stuff. Obviously, it was a hard time for everyone, but especially for you when it's really affected you. But then it's sort of as you say, it's brought you onto your content. So in a way, it's strangely beautiful.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that there's a big silver lining in it all. Obviously, I don't want to be like that sort of like toxic positivity personality and that like, oh, it's fine. This is fine. This is all good.
Everything works out.
It was an awful experience, but
yeah, I bet.
I believe that, becoming sick ultimately made me a more compassionate person, and it allowed me to like slow down and learn how to set boundaries, and it gave me so much time to explore gaming and play all these games, and they helped.
I'm intrigued. So obviously you started this during COVID. Did you have much experience beforehand in terms of like creativity, like editing and recording, or is it something that you sort of picked up as a hobby during that time?
Yes and no. As for creativity, I graduated with a degree in art and design and art history and photography. And in that path...
Where did you study?
Missouri State University.
Okay. Is that where you are now, Missouri?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I leave for Canada next week to check out opportunities there.
Amazing.
And meet up with Story-Rich Games.
Yes,
and
of course.
Gonna really enjoy my time there and see if Canada's for me. My dad's from Canada and my mom's American, so it's like...
So do you have like dual citizenship, or is it...
I think I'm eligible for dual citizenship.
Okay. Yeah.
So this will be an opportunity for me to figure out if it's right for me. Yeah.
Amazing. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So let's get back
Ready
onto
to get out
your...
of Missouri. But anyways, yeah.
Let's get back onto your content. So I'm intrigued because I know you as Macy. A lot of people on Blue Sky know you as Macy. But on YouTube, you are LucyLuck. I really want to know where that came from.
Okay, yeah. So my gamer tag is, or was, Our Lady Lucifer. And it sounds very edgy, and I thought it was funny because I've always been sort of known as a more like comforting, wholesome personality, and I thought the juxtaposition of being very much that and having such an edgy name I thought it was comedy gold. In retrospect,
I think it is.
It was a bit much, but in the Red Dead community, I like really put myself like in that community and was a big part of it, and loved the people.
Is this
and
Red
they
Dead
all just
1
referred to
or
me.
Red Dead 2?
Red Dead 2. Red Dead Online.
Yes,
Yeah. So I was mostly referred to as Lucy in that community. And so that just really stuck. When I started to make videos, I wanted to be a little bit anonymous at the time. And just sort of, I thought I was going to just have this sort of character of like being LucyLuck, and I wanted it to be like kind of like super spy LucyLuck, like our cowgirl, like cool cowgirl. I don't even know, but LucyLuck.
It's luck.
And
LucyLuck.
The alliteration is nice for ASMR too, like LucyLuck. Just went with it, but it was when I started Blue Sky that I was like battling with like, do I want to be LucyLuck here? Do I want to be Macy? I hadn't been a part of social media for years at that point. Like I got, socially burned out. I was sick and just sort of lost and a bit insecure and didn't really know who Macy was anymore. Because pre-sick Macy was like hyper productive and, constantly trying to achieve the next big thing.
Right.
And I didn't resonate with that person anymore, hence why I leaned into LucyLuck. But now I've been in this place of like, I was missing connection. I was really missing people and missing a part of myself. So that's why I decided to be Macy on Blue Sky.
So you've sort of come full circle.
Yeah. And I still, I still go by LucyLuck on YouTube. That's just who I am over there. No, absolutely not. But for Blue Sky, I really wanted to finally just like put a little bit of myself more into LucyLuck. And honestly, I didn't know if I was going to promote my content because it's kind of like, I recognize ASMR as a bit of like a cringy niche. And it's a little uncomfortable to talk about.
Okay. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's do that.
So ASMR, I want to know, how did you discover that it was something that you could do or wanted to do?
So, I mean, I've always enjoyed ASMR. I've enjoyed it for about 10 years, back when it was referred to as like whisper videos on YouTube.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know, ASMR is always like a feeling I've had like since I was young, of just that like tingly comfort feeling when you're around people with certain voices or you hear like nails tapping. Like I always had that feeling. But when I discovered like it was a whole thing on YouTube, that changed my world and brought me a lot of comfort when I was anxious or stressed or couldn't sleep. It helped me a lot. So it was like, for a while, it was something I really wanted to do, but the people I would tell about it in my circles and be like, I kind of want to do ASMR. It was, by some people, very heavily ridiculed, and they're like, what are you talking? Like, that is so weird. Like, why would you do that? And those were not good people to hang around.
No, they're not. They're not friends.
Not. But it was when I mean, it got the want to do it got a bit more intense when I became a yoga instructor. A while back, I traveled to India. I got my yoga teacher certification. And when I got back home and started teaching, I put people to sleep in every class. Every class I taught, I had at least 5 students that fell asleep.
To be fair, if I was in a yoga class, I'd just pretend to be asleep so I didn't have to do the exercise because I'm lazy. I'd just be like, yeah, no, I'm sleeping.
I did a very like, I didn't do intense yoga, but it was like deep stretch. It was very relaxed, very chill.
That's amazing.
I put people to sleep. And so I was like, okay, maybe there's something to that.
Now I want to ask, because your content itself is, you describe it as making non-traditional cozy games cozy.
Yes.
What was the decision behind that? Because I think it's brilliant, because it's such a niche that no one else is doing. Like, you expect it with some types of games, but Red Dead, Kingdom Come Deliverance, like, what was the decision behind those? Is it just because they were the games that you liked playing?
There's that, absolutely. But I think in large part, like when I started the channel 2 years ago and post like pandemic, it was like height of like cozy games. And so all of these ASMR artists, they were playing cozy games on their channel. They're like cozy gamers, and it had like, you know, very intense connotations and aesthetics. And it was like a big niche. And while I love cozy games, like traditional, like we'll say Spiritfarer, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley. Like, I love those games very much.
Yeah.
But I've always found like so much comfort in open world games. Particularly like Red Dead. There's just something so like intimate and beautiful and still about it, and alive, and all these incredible sounds. And I felt like it was like a really untapped sort of niche for comfort. And so I leaned into Red Dead, and I think the most surprising thing was like when I started doing Baldur's Gate 3 content, I did not know how that was going to go. I was like, this is really far removed from like even a non-traditional cozy game, but I knew it was a game that like I stayed up all night playing. Like, I would get on at night and blink, and it would like the sun was rising. And so in my brain, I was like, okay, maybe like if I can't sleep because I'm playing this game, maybe if I play this game for others, they'll be able to sleep. Like, they can still feel like they're playing the game or enjoying the game and be able to get rest. So that was my process of thought.
That's amazing. Perfect. Right. I said to you before the podcast, Macy doesn't know this, but I thought it'd be quite fun if you try to teach me how to do ASMR.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
So I want to know how you get in the zone, what you do, And yeah, just tell me everything, and then I'll have a go, and we can decide together whether it's something that maybe I can pursue in the future under a different name, maybe not LucyLuck, maybe like struggling to think of something now. Rossi Reads. There we go.
Rossi Reads.
Rossi Reads. That's all right, isn't it?
Not bad.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Oh gosh. Okay. So it's tough. Let me think. So I feel like there are a lot of different versions of ASMR in the community. There's like soft spoken, there is whispering, and my main thing is like soft spoken.
Okay.
So it's less so like the little mouth sounds people do, and more so like take it down, talk really soft, and then like go really slow, and then I sort of enunciate at the front of my mouth.
Okay.
It's really interesting to people like to talk about, like, how do I do it?
How do you do?
But it's like
is it one of those things like breathing where you're like, I don't know, I just do it?
Yeah. Well, I think I can describe it. It's just there's not a lot of like power coming through the voice. It's like the power is sort of kept like I'd say at the back of the throat, and then the enunciation is the key at the front of the mouth. Okay. So when I would say like, I'm like, I need to think of something. What do I say? I'm looking at things around my desk and I see deodorant. So I'm like, whole body deodorant. Okay, we'll say this.
Yeah, let's do that. Do the deodorant.
Whole body deodorant. Like just you enunciate.
Well, I've got chills.
Your mouth. Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna try it then. I'm gonna just do the name of the podcast. So
okay.
God, I feel weird doing it. Right, here we go. Games for the Galaxy.
Not bad.
I don't know why I'm doing an American accent though. Why? I don't need to do that, do I?
Well,
That's not required.
I guess your only reference is an American. So
I'll try and do it with a British accent, my own accent. Games for the Galaxy.
Okay.
Hello and welcome. I'm RossTweetsGames, and this is Games for the Galaxy ASMR. I just feel like I'm whispering.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't think there is a career for Rossi Reads. I've decided it's done. It's not happening. I leave it to the professionals.
I rather enjoyed it. I think, if you wanted to pursue it, I think in time you could get there. I believe in you.
Maybe we'll do a collab, LucyLuck and Rossi Reads.
The next collaboration.
Playing some sort of co-op game.
Yeah.
Right, I've got another question for you. I didn't prepare you for this one either. It's quite a personal question, so I hope you don't mind me asking it.
Okay.
Macy, do you believe that aliens exist?
Ooh. I'm going to say yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm already within a very controversial niche as for ASMR. So I don't want to be the ASMR artist that's also like aliens, but I'm going to say absolutely. I think it would be selfish to believe we're the only planet in the entire universe that has humanity or life, intelligence.
Do you have any thoughts on what they might look like, what their planet might be? Have you ever thought about it in that way?
Absolutely. We have our resources on this planet and way of life, and that shapes us and our humanity. And I believe that there's got to be all these other planets with different resources and harsh weathers and things that life would have to adapt to. So they'll look according to those conditions.
Okay.
So I have a hard time imagining that they would look exactly like us. I think there might be some with similarities, but yeah.
But overall, they might have a different look or different shape. I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. Might be tiny, might be massive. You never know. Microorganisms. That's life.
I've got something to tell you, Macy, and that is that you are right. Aliens do exist, and not only do they exist, but they've abducted you.
Oh my goodness!
I know you've been abducted.
Are you the alien?
Maybe I am the alien. Maybe what planet shaped me? I don't know. Maybe I can be the alien, and I'm from the planet Cylon. I don't know. That's such a generic alien planet name.
There's a reason there's sci-fi writers. They figure that stuff out. That's for the pros.
let me tell you a little bit about the reason you have been abducted. So these aliens, they're very much like us, as we've seen, because they look like me. I'm the alien in your situation. I've abducted you. But there's one main difference, and that is that they do not have video games. Okay? So when they were stopping by Earth, because they like to stop in from time to time, they noticed a lot of people were playing video games, and they were like, well, they look interesting. We want to know more. I don't know if you know this, Macy, but aliens really like ASMR. They're massive fans. Like, they can't get enough of it. Like, before they go to bed in their alien beds, they listen to ASMR videos, sleeping away with the nice, soft talking. So they decided that the best person to answer questions all about video games is the YouTube sensation who makes non-traditional cozy games cozy, and that is you, Macy. You have been abducted, and the first question they want to know is, what is the first game you remember playing?
Let's see. Well, first of all, I am honored that the aliens would pick me, of all people, to inform them. This is better than when I got a comment that their cat loves my ASMR. This is huge.
Wow.
First game. That's a tricky one. My early memory is a little foggy, but I'd say my earliest memory, most notable sort of experience with playing a game was probably being, I want to say 6, 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe younger. And I was at a friend's house. My parents were musicians, and they'd have band practice over at their friend's place, and I would hang out with their son. And he had access to his older brother's video games. And so he would put on Mortal Kombat, and we are way too young to be playing this game. But yeah, our parents would order us hamburger thin crust pizza from Domino's, and it was every weekend we would do this, and it was best time ever of getting this pizza and putting on this game that we were not supposed to play, and trying to fight each other in Mortal Kombat, both of us very badly. And
Amazing.
Anytime we'd hear a parent walking down the hallway, we would like quickly switch it off and pretend we were doing anything else.
Oh, okay. So it was a situation where you shouldn't have really been playing those.
It was a very violent video game. A lot of, misconceptions at the time. I mean, in hindsight, no, that was not a great game for a child to play. But, there was a heightened sort of idea that gaming makes people inherently violent or bad or lazy. And so it wasn't a good one to play as a child, but also wasn't made much better by all of that sort of rhetoric.
No, I think that's a great story. I can just imagine you when you hear the footsteps of the parents quickly turning it off, opening a book, we're doing nothing wrong.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, us? No, we're angels. We just
perfect baby
read.
Angels. Yeah, we're reading before the age you can read. It's a miracle.
All right, let's move on to the next question, which is, what game made you cry the most? Do games make you cry, Macy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Big crybaby. What made me cry the most was Spiritfarer.
Okay.
And it made me cry in the best way. Have you played that game?
I've not played it, so tell me more. Okay. Without spoiling anything.
Of course.
Tell me why it brought the tears.
I would say that it's a game that is perfect for an alien to understand humanity.
Okay, interesting.
It deals with complex topics about, loss and connection and grief and how people grieve. And it's such an important game and one of the most incredible ones that I've ever played. And I was crying constantly, but it was such a powerful feel-good emotional experience.
Yeah, that's one that I'm going to have to play. Is it a 2D game? I can't picture it at all.
So it's very story rich. And then there's a bit of a base building mechanic where you're like on this ship and you can like sort of decorate it and put, you're collecting all these, people on your ship and then making little homes for them and taking care of them and feeding them. So you have that sort of aspect, and then you're traveling around the game and meeting these new souls and connecting with them and talking to them. Yeah.
What is a game you didn't think you'd like, but you ended up loving it?
Ooh, Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. That's a good answer.
Yeah, because I was big on open world games, and this was a game that I think I learned about through TikTok, and it was the narrator of the game had these like outtake videos, and they were so funny, and she was so charming and like sarcastic, and I love that sense of humor so much, that sort of like witty, dark, sarcastic sense of humor. I was obsessed with it, and so I had to learn more about this game that she was narrating for, and learned about Baldur's Gate. And then like everyone was just talking about, how wild it was and how fun it was. And I was like, okay, I have to play this. I'd never played a turn-based game before.
First turn-based?
Nothing like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And also like I played D&D a bit in high school.
Okay. Yeah.
But like it wasn't like a big focus in my life at that point. And now I'm a massive, I collect D20s. And,
oh, wow.
I have like figurines of the characters. Like this game like turned me into a massive nerd in the best possible way. I loved the game. But yeah, I hadn't, going into it, I was not sure that it was going to be my type of game.
Yeah,
and
for
I felt
sure.
like a bit of a poser playing it.
How did you find playing it for the first time? Because I was the same with Baldur's Gate 3. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, although like now I really want to. But when it came to the combat and the world, it took me a couple of like sessions. I think I did a playthrough about 20 hours. Then I restarted because I was like, okay, I understand it a little bit more. So I started another one and got about 10 hours in, and then I ended up abandoning that and then doing a co-op with Ziggy Princess to the end. So,
nice. My gosh. To be able to play with her, that would be amazing.
Don't say, she'll message you now. When she listens to this, she'll be straight into your DMs going, let's do it, because she loves that game. I am
okay with that, Ziggy, if you're hearing this. Please play with me.
Start the co-op.
I know that is a big commitment, though, for both of us, because that is another 100 hours of both of our lives to dedicate to this story. But yeah. How did you find like the first playthrough? Like, did you struggle with it, or did you sort of like take to it quite well? I feel like I got hooked pretty quickly. Like once I got off the ship and like started talking to like, I met Astarion. Yeah. And then, and I will just say Astarion's not one of those characters for me. It was the personality of like seeing, like meeting Shadowheart and like Gale and all of these characters. I'm like, there's so much like richness to their personalities. It felt so like alive, and I loved that. And I wanted to like learn more about them. Like I was sucked into the game because I wanted to uncover more about these characters and learn more about like their side quests and their stories. And like, I was hooked pretty quickly. I barely knew what I was doing. I had to look up a lot of things on Google for that game. Same. Looked up a lot of builds.
What build did you go for? Do you remember?
I had to do what I had to do. My first one, I was a cleric.
Okay.
And
you said the first one. I'm intrigued now. How many times have you played through the game?
Five times.
5 times. 5 times.
Yeah.
I feel like a bad gamer now because I've only done one full one. You're on 5. You're ready for your 6th.
I feel like a bad gamer because I haven't been keeping up with too many new releases when I'm a content creator. I've been playing this game.
You don't need new releases when you've got Baldur's Gate.
Honestly,
that is
and
like
every single time I found something new.
Yeah,
and I've been somebody different, and it's amazing. Yeah, so it was like my first character was interesting in that she was like, I didn't know anything about D&D and D&D lore, so I went with like a character that like looked cool to me.
Yeah.
And so I chose, it was like a cleric of Lulth, and she was a drow which are like inherently darker, sort of like evil, sinister characters in the D&D world. And I was just like being myself and answering how I'd answer things. I'm like, oh, that's not very nice. I'm going to be. So it was this dark personality. I was like, why does everyone hate me? Why is everyone so mean to me? Like, my first playthrough, I was very much Macy and that very golden retriever, be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Try and romance the cute wizard. I was a more sinister looking character in appearance. So I think people, when I played it on the channel, people liked that contrast and thought it was really funny. So we went with it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I played a lot of different characters and had a great time with all of them.
Such a good game. It's such a good game.
Such a good game. Oh my gosh. Lorian, whatever they make from here on out, it's a ride or die.
Yeah, day one. Who cares what it is? Hopefully they do an alien game. That's what I would like as an alien.
Of course.
Yeah, an alien.
Absolutely.
RPG, that'd be fun.
Maybe I'll apply there. I'll put in a good word.
Thank you. See. Yeah, I'd really appreciate that on the planet.
I don't have the experience, but I'll do it for you.
Thank you. Thanks. What game is terrible, but you love it anyway? So it might be critically panned or other people don't like it, but you're like, nope, I don't care. This game's amazing.
It's a tricky one because I feel like I would make a really bad like game reviewer because I'm like very golden retriever when it comes to video games. Like the last game I played is my favorite game I've ever played. Like I love games and enjoy all of them.
That's
and I
good
don't
energy, Macy. That's what we like.
Yeah, I really love games. And like, even if it's a game I don't like resonate with or don't think is like my cup of tea or that great, I'm like, wow, these people made a game. That's cool. I wish I could make a game. Like, I think it's awesome. But I mean, there was this mobile game that I got hooked on, and I am not proud of it. I am not proud that I got hooked on this game. It was a gacha game called Evertale. And I'm embarrassed to bring this up. I'm embarrassed.
I want to know more about Evertale.
You do not. You do not want to know more about Evertale.
What were you getting in the game?
Waifus. They're like anime. I've never been into those sort of games, but like it was the ads. The ads were like over the top, ridiculous.
They got you with the ads.
And so I downloaded it as a joke because I was like, this game has got to be so stupid because like it was like hypersexualized, or then I would get an ad that was like horror, and I was like, what even is this game? Like, it's kind of like
just too intriguing. You had to find out.
Yeah, it was like so weird, and I was like, I gotta see like what's this about. And then the game starts as kind of like this Pokemon style game. So I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, interesting. So it's kind of like you collect monsters and you catch them. And I got hooked. Like I got like sucked in. And then when the story ends, it is no longer a Pokemon game. It is now like a waifu collecting game where you have to traditional gacha.
Completely invested in this game. I want to know, you say it's like Pokemon. Did you go to the lab and you had like 3 waifus in front of you and you had to choose your starter one?
No. So it started as like a monster game. There were monsters
so it was
that
monsters.
You caught.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was very much like Pokemon where there were monsters and there were some like female characters, not like they're like mermaid, like sort of monster female characters, but they weren't like over the top, like sexualized, sexy women. It was just like, it was cool. It was monster. And I got like sucked into the story, and you're playing as this like sort of knight character. And in the story, like you are meeting these like women that are it's a little much, but it's like I was able to overlook it because I was enjoying the mechanics.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the mechanics of the game.
As we all do.
Yeah. It was for the plot. As the story finished, it 100% was like you spend these things called like the in-game currency soul stones on, pulling for this like OP sexy lady who's gonna like make your team super powerful. And so basically you got to the end, they kicked the monsters out of the room and they were like, here's hot women everywhere and please pay us for it. And I was very good, and I put the game down, and I never played it again. And that's not true. I kept playing for 2 years.
2 years.
Became one of the top players in the United States.
Amazing. So you were top waifu hunter, were you, in the States?
I was. And I never paid for it. Like, I never spent money on it. Like, I never did. I spent way too many hours of my life playing it.
Yeah.
But I ended up meeting, like, Kinsey.
Oh, really?
I met Kinsey through that game from Blue Sky. And she's now, like, my best friend.
So you met through the waifu game? I didn't know that.
We met through the waifu game.
I just assumed it was through social media, but no.
No,
the waifu game brings people together. That's what we've learned. So no matter what other people say.
There's a few people I've met through that game, and were big. I mean, they were the ones that encouraged me to start my YouTube channel. So I can't be like, it's a ridiculous game. It is. There are many things wrong with it in terms of the sexualization of women and spending money on women. And,
but it bought you Kenzie
real currency to fake PNGs. Like, that's not right. But I ended up meeting the most incredible people that were supportive and encouraged this channel.
I think in that case, you completed that game. I think you did it in the best way. You had the best run through of that game. Like, I'm proud of you.
Can't think. Yeah, I don't know if I'm able to say this on. I'm not able to say this on the podcast. It might not be PG, but Kinsey and I call it the big titty anime game, and that's where we became besties.
That's okay.
With 2 Ds, titty. Big titty anime game.
Brilliant.
We became the best of friends. Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot to thank for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You don't have to include that.
Oh, I'm including it. I'm including it.
That is what it is. We'll own it.
What game scared you the most?
Oh God. So I think it's called Mortician's Assistant.
Okay.
Mortician's Assistant? I think that was the name of the game.
I'm not familiar, so you can have to tell me.
At least I've always said I'm not into horror games. I say that, and then I end up playing quite a few of them. And I mean, Alan Wake 2 is my favorite game, one of my favorite games of all time, and that's technically horror. But it was Mortician's Assistant, and at the time it was like a big trend. A lot of people were playing this game, and so I was like, okay, why not? It was so scary. I was nauseous. I was not having a good time. And I had to invite my friend Savannah over because I could not play this by myself. It was too much, but I felt invested. I felt like I'm a big completionist, and so I was like, I have to finish this game. So I invited her over, and we're both trying to play this game. It is so scary. Both of us are angry. We're so scared. We're angry and mad at each other and yelling and just trying to finish it. We didn't try to win the game. We didn't try to finish it well or get the good ending. We were just rushing through it. So scared.
So I'm intrigued because I don't know this game. So I'm guessing was it a PC Steam game?
I played it on console.
Okay.
PS5. Which probably made it worse. That it's on the big screen.
Yeah.
Not
with the
fun.
lights off, or did you have to play it with the lights on?
I'm pretty sure I kept lights on, honestly. It was so scary enough. Lights off. It was too much. So the idea is that you start working as a mortuary assistant, embalming these bodies and stuff. And for whatever reason, you're the only one there. The person you're supposed to shadow is not there. I can't remember the story in its entirety, but I just know I'm alone in this place, and there's dead bodies, and you're preparing them for burial, and it's that in itself is scary, and freaky. Absolutely. Just being alone with dead bodies. But as it goes on, it's some of them become possessed, and you're trying to figure out what entity they're possessed by in order to release the spirit or something. And as it goes on, the longer you stay in the game, the more crazy you become. And you have this notebook where you scribble, and it becomes just creepier and creepier as you just put these markings on it. It's hard to describe. Anyways, so you can no longer sort of trust yourself in the gameplay.
Yeah.
And so you have these dead bodies. They're moving around. There's jump scares. There's like these creepy things. Like you'll just see it in the corner. Like there's not a ton of like jump scares where it just like pops out at you. It's like they're just there, like subtly in the corner.
That's so much worse.
More horrifying.
Yeah, agreed.
Like you don't know they're there. And then like when you see it, it's like
the chills.
Your heart just drops. Whoa. It's awful. And, yeah. That was a tough one to finish. I did finish it. I got the worst possible ending, but I did
it though. That's all. Sometimes you just need to complete the game, and then you can delete it and try not to think about it before you go to sleep. That's what I thought. Right.
But I mean, you know, moving on, I feel like I'm a more brave person. Like every game in comparison has been less scary for me. So I feel like I've enjoyed horror games now as a result of that game.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, I can manage anything else.
I do feel like you build a tolerance to scary games, especially if you go for one that's scary. You know, that's big building blocks for the tolerance.
Yeah, it's my best.
What game means the most to you? So it doesn't have to be your favorite game, but the memories around playing it make it special.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
So we talked about this a little bit earlier on. Yeah. So tell us more. So you became quite involved with the community of Red Dead Online. So because sometimes people see those as two different games, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online, even though they're sometimes in one. So which side are you sort of referring to, or is it the whole package?
I would say both. I got my start with Red Dead Redemption 2, the offline version. And this was a game I started playing, I think this was before I got sick. I was working a corporate job I was like not crazy about. And this game was like my outlet. At the end of the day, like I got off work and I could just like...
It's time to be a cowboy.
Yeah, time to be a cowboy. And then just fell in love with the story and these characters and the world. And I loved... the like sort of like historical accuracy and the attention to detail and the clothing. And then I loved it so much. And then when I did get sick, at that point I had finished the story and was like struggling to like, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't walk downstairs. Like I couldn't do much. And I was really craving socialization. I refer to myself as like an introverted person, but like, I like
you
people.
Need that. Yeah, sometimes you need that connection. I think I'm with you. I'm very much an introverted person, but I do need, you know, some socializing. So yeah, I feel you there. But yeah, so Red Dead Online brought that to you?
Exactly. Yeah. I started playing Red Dead Online and like got involved on like Reddit and trying to find like their posses in the game. So I was trying to find a posse that, you know, felt right, that, you know, people I could get along with, which can be hard to find sometimes in gaming spaces. But I ended up finding this group that was like Lone Wolf Union, and it had like around 2,000 members.
Oh, wow. So it's big.
And it was like a really big Red Dead posse. And there was like a whole process to get in. Like there was like testing and, it was a big deal, and I was so proud of myself. It was like
what was the
sense of achievement.
What did you have to do?
Like, there were like these sort of tiers within the community of like, you join, and they're like, because they want it to be like a wholesome sort of environment where it's like there are some gamers that are just too much. They're aggressive and, you know, racist and loud and just, you know. So it was like a more of a trial period of like, okay. It was like, is she cool? And
of course she's cool. She's completed the Hot Waifu game.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, you know, the Evertail girl.
Evertail girl, yeah. Get her in the posse.
Absolutely. No, but so I finished all that, and then there were, you know, these sort of tiers of like, you become a greenhorn and then a special agent, and you like will kind of work your way up. And I ended up becoming one of like the top sort of agents in this posse in Red Dead Online, and we just like help newer players with trade runs. Have you played the game?
I played the single player. I played a little bit of the online, not too much though. So I didn't join a posse or anything. I played more of Red Dead 1's online, believe it or not.
Okay. I played a bit of that. Yeah.
But yeah, Red Dead 2 online, I'm not massively familiar with it. Yeah.
So there are these trades where you can be a trader or a moonshiner or a bounty hunter. And so what I would do as a special agent in this group was like facilitate these group outings to help newer players be able to level up and help them hunt for their trade wagons and then sell their goods to get them like in-game currency and stuff. And they're sort of on these like trade runs where you get really close to people.
Yeah.
And there's something so distinctly connecting about just like being with this group and like going from point A to point B, just like horseback, late night, in this game that's just so like quaint and calm. And then we'd all just stay up all night talking to each other and riding around on our digital horses and having these really vulnerable talks. And it was something you hear about this sort of toxicity when it comes to anonymity in video games. You know, people can be incredibly cruel and the worst versions of themselves because they can be. But I found like in Red Dead Online, like the anonymity allowed people to be more vulnerable versions of themselves when they couldn't be in their everyday working life. And so it was like, I was able to have these really deep personal conversations with people on the other side of the world and develop these really strong bonds and connections. And I'd say that like really changed my world and perception of gaming, and that it can be an incredibly connecting medium. And I just fell in love with it. And that's why the game means so much to me, is because like not only the story, not only the environment, not only the gameplay, but just the people and the community, and realizing that it can bring out so much beauty in one another. And that's become my favorite aspect of gaming since, is the connection.
That's such a lovely answer. It's so wholesome.
Thanks.
No, that's really, really good. I've enjoyed that. What video game character do you have a crush on?
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's not Astarion.
It's not Astarion? Okay.
It's not
Is
Astarion.
It from Baldur's Gate?
It is from Baldur's Gate. There's something about that game. They made the characters like...
A lot of hot characters.
So well. They made them so well. Gale from Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Gale.
I would say that some may find this a controversial answer, because there's a lot of Gale haters out there. I'm not one of them. I like Gale. So what would you say to those haters? Why is Gale number one?
I think Gale's number one for me because he was somebody I could almost relate to. Not necessarily like in a storyline, but he was like awkward. He's a bit awkward. And that's what I really like valued about this character, was that he would build himself up as this sort of like pompous, know-it-all, like smart, like he would lean into that to like seem valuable, appear valuable. But I liked that he was like a bit awkward and strange, and that the more like you get to know him as a character, was like showed profound humanity and vulnerability and fear about his circumstances. I won't, obviously don't want to spoil anything.
No, of course not.
But I was just very, very attracted to that storyline.
Okay, so it was an immediate
personality type.
It was an immediate attraction. It was as you got to know him. Was it a personality thing?
Yeah. It was absolutely like that.
Do you know what? That's a good answer, because I'm sure a lot of people will say this answer and they'll just go hot. They're hot. Whereas you go, no, do you know what? It's all about the personality, and I think that's important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've I've never really been one to be like, there are a lot of, I feel like a lot of video game characters, like there's this push to make them visually attractive.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of easy to do. Like there's a template of like what, is visually attractive. But I mean, at the end, like they're PNGs. They're not PNGs. They're cartoons.
The pixels on the screen.
So like, it's all about just the story behind them that is like sells a sort of idea of a crush for me.
Good. Amazing.
Yeah.
What game have you replayed the most?
So I can't think of.
Well, we've already established Baldur's Gate. You've done 5 times.
Oh yeah.
Is there a game?
Right. I was like, I haven't played many of them. Yeah, that's the one.
That is Baldur's Gate. Five times Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why I was like, I don't think I've played very many. I think in my brain, like, that game is so far removed from every game I've played. So I think, for some reason in my mind, I don't think of me playing that multiple times. It's so different from it's so different every time you play it. It feels new every time. So it's,
I think, in my brain, that's fair. It almost feels like, even though you've played it 5 times, we've established that. It feels like one big playthrough, does it?
Yeah, or different games, honestly.
Different games, yeah.
Yeah, because I've made subtly different decisions each playthrough. I've been different sort of characters. And every single time, things turn out completely different than it was the time before. And so it's felt very new each time I played. And I can't bring myself to play it again because it will consume my life. It's like a problem. It is a problem. I can't do this again, even though I'm very excited about the latest patch where you can do multiplayer with
crossplay.
Crossplay.
Exactly. Which is going to come in handy with your playthrough with Ziggy.
Yes, absolutely.
She's going to message you about this.
I'm very excited. Someday I know I'll play this again, especially multiplayer. I'm very excited about that. But it's definitely one that's like, you have to have the time.
It's a big game. I'm intrigued now. How many hours do you have in it? Do you know?
I don't want to know. I feel like minimum, probably 500 hours. 500 minimum. Yeah. About I average about 100 hours per gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think my first playthrough was about 100 hours. So yeah, that's probably, you're probably not far off the mark there. 500.
Yeah. But I mean, 500 hours well spent, I suppose.
Amazing. Right, we don't want to be too negative, but what's the worst game you've ever played? Is there a game that you've just gone, ugh, no, this isn't for me?
Yeah, I guess to kind of go off something I said earlier is that I have trouble with this answer because I haven't played a ton of games that I hated or didn't like or thought was like the worst.
Yeah.
I feel like I can usually tell when a game's like not going to be for me, and so I won't play it. Like I'll be like, oh, this doesn't really seem like my type of game, and so I won't play it. I've very rarely been let down super hard once I play a game because I'm just very thrilled about games. I will find the silver lining in absolutely everything, and like even if I'm not digging it, I will convince myself that I'm like, wow, they did it. They did it. I love it.
They gone did it.
They done did it. Wow. And I tell people like there's this sort of perception with like gaming figures on Blue Sky that's like, okay, these are people that can give us some good reviews. So I will get some comments on my posts like, oh, like, what are your thoughts on this game? What's your review of this game? And I'm like, I'm not the person to ask.
I'm with you.
I am like the yes man of all games. I'm so excited about all the games. So if anyone needs a hype man, I got you because I'm all
Macy.
about him. I'm all about him.
So you saying that there is not a worse game that you have ever played? All games.
I can't think of one. I can't think of one.
All games are equally great.
I feel like there are games that like are all great in different areas and for different reasons. I feel like I'm very attracted to all these different games for different purposes.
Yeah.
Because I'll enjoy a game like For Honor for the multiplayer, and I need to like kind of like rage and like be with my buddies and like socialize and yell and just have that experience. And then there are some games where I need to have like a more deeply personal, story-driven experience, and or a more like artful one of like an indie that was like hand-drawn, like a Mori, or RPG Maker games. Like I love a bunch of different games for a bunch of different reasons, and have a hard time associating any given game of being like awful.
Okay.
And if I feel like it's going in that direction, it would tend to be a game that I don't start in the first place.
That's probably healthy. Like,
Maybe.
It's a good way to be. Okay. What is objectively the best video game ever? So it might not be your personal favorite game, but it's one that is clearly a great. Like if there was a museum for video games, it would be right up there at the front.
Yeah, that kind of goes along with my last answer of like, I hype up so many video games. What's the best? Oh my gosh. Definitely Baldur's Gate 3. I know it's a newer one. But that like very quickly went down as like one of my favorite games of all time for the story, the game mechanics, and the replayability. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. And Red Dead for the narrative, for the multiplayer like community aspect. I wish there was still updates for the Red Dead Online community. That's my like main quip with it. I'm so sad. It was devastating that they stopped, but I know there'll be GTA 6, which I am looking forward to that. But yeah, that one is a big one for me. And then Spiritfarer.
Okay.
Spiritfarer is another one. Yeah. That is
all three of them could be. I'm gonna have to choose one though, because you're only allowed one. So I'm gonna choose for you, and I'm gonna say out of those three, Baldur's Gate 3 is objectively the best one. Just because, as you say, there's so much to that game. There's so many different ways you can play it, and I feel like there is something for everyone.
Yes.
Macy, you have been an incredible guest.
Thank you. And I'm so like excited to be a part of this and grateful to meet my first alien.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, before I go back, back to my planet, I can't remember what I called it now. I want to take one video game with me, and I'm going to take this video game back to my planet, and I'm going to give it to everyone else on my planet and be like, look at this. This is awesome. Macy showed me this. Like, you should all play it. What video game are you going to give me?
So, a part of me wants to say Baldur's Gate 3. But I think the game that I would pick to get, like, for an alien race to get to the, like, heart of humanity, I want to say Spiritfarer.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like that's something, like, if you're from another planet and you want to understand humans, you want to understand video games, I think that would be the game. Because you'll learn about loss, you'll learn about feeling, you'll learn about grief, and all these complex topics, but in a beautiful, comforting way. And so I feel like that's the game that I would pick.
Amazing. I think that's brilliant. And you know what? I am going to play it because I haven't played it, but you put it on my radar. So I'm going to go back to my planet and I'm going to pop it into the console and I'm going to enjoy it.
Do it. I'm excited for you to have a deeply human experience.
Finally.
You finally, for once.
Amazing. No, thank you so much for joining. Before you go, tell us how we can find you, what your YouTube handle is, your Blue Sky. Are you on any other platforms?
Yeah. Okay. You can find me on YouTube as LucyLuck, all one word. And then I'm Macy Daisy on Blue Sky. you'll see Macy and then a glass of wine and a little bat. That's
Yeah,
me.
that's you.
MacyDaisy.bsky.social. And I'd say those are the main places that I'm active. I also have a Discord that you can find the link to on my Blue Sky profile. That's a space I really enjoy because you can, connect with people and talk to them. I'm not super active on platforms like Instagram. I'm definitely not on X or Twitter anymore. You'll find me in the spaces where people can really genuinely connect and chat and get to know each other.
Incredible.
In a non-performative sort of way.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I'll put links to all of your socials and stuff in the episode information, so you can find Macy there. But yeah, that is the end of this episode. Thank you, Macy, so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and it's been nice getting to know you more outside of Blue Sky.
So that was episode 3 of Games for the Galaxy. Thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it. And a big shout out to Macy, who was absolutely fantastic. She'd never done a podcast before, and I think she was brilliant. Remember to go and check out Macy's YouTube channel, LucyLuck, all one word. There's amazing content on there. And also follow her on Blue Sky at Macy Daisy. And while you're there, maybe follow me too at RossTweetsGames. Once again, thank you for listening, and remember, games. Goodbye.